All right, let's jump right in. When you think about how these massive oil and gas service companies compete, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most people, it's price, right? Whoever offers the lowest bid gets the job. And, that's not totally wrong, but it's really just the tip of the iceberg. Today, we're going to look past that price tag and see what the real competition is all about. Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start by blowing up that lowest bidder myth. Then we'll get into how safety is a huge deal, followed by the whole efficiency and eco angle. After that, we'll touch on building an ethical reputation. And finally, we'll see how investors are basically using a whole new scorecard to pick the winners. All right, section 1, beyond the price tag. Let's really challenge this idea that it's all about being the cheapest. I mean, think about it. In this business, one wrong move can be an absolute disaster. So being the cheapest, well, that might actually be a red flag, The real question is, what else are these companies really competing on? And look, you don't have to take my word for it. This quote basically lays it all out. It's straight from the industry itself. Besides the rates charged, entities compete based on their operational and safety performance, technology and process offerings, project management performance, and reputation. So yeah, it's way more than just price. It's a battle on all these other fronts. How well you operate, the tech you bring to the table, and of course, your reputation. That's what really makes or breaks a company. So that brings us right to our next point, competing on safety. You might be thinking, wait, isn't safety just table stakes, like the bare minimum? And you're right, it is. But in this high-stakes world, being provably safe isn't just a requirement, it's a huge competitive edge. It's how you build trust. And here's the thing. It's not just about a company saying they're safe. It's all about the data. It's quantifiable. Customers and, importantly, investors are digging into these key metrics you see here. We're talking about things like TIIR, the total recordable incident rate, fatality rates, even near-miss frequency. This stuff gives them a hard, factual look at how a company really operates. So let's zoom in on that one metric, TIIR. What is it really? Well, think of it like a safety score. It's a standardized weight to count any serious on-the-job injury. So if a company has a super low TIR year after year, it's screaming that they are disciplined, they are buttoned up, and they are reliable. For a client choosing a partner, that low number means less risk. It's basically trust, but in a number. Okay, let's move on to the next big battleground, the efficiency and eco edge. Because these days, being efficient isn't just about getting the job done faster. It's about being smarter with your resources. And believe it or not, one of the biggest resources and biggest headaches in this industry is water. So here's the challenge, right? Oil and gas operations use an absolutely mind-boggling amount of water. This is a huge problem for their clients. Why? Well, you've got risks of water shortages, you've got new regulations popping up all the time, and the costs are just going up and up. It is a massive operational headache they need someone else to solve. And we are not talking about small amounts here. The scale is just wow. This metric forces companies to report the total volume of water they manage. We're talking about thousands upon thousands of cubic meters. To give you an idea, that can be like filling hundreds of Olympic-sized swimming pools for just one operation. So yeah, handling water isn't some side gig, it is a core part of the business. So what's the solution? How do you compete on this? Well, check this out. It's all about recycling. The companies that are winning are the ones who can recycle a higher and higher percentage of that water. Think about it. If you can reuse water, you're directly cutting your clients' costs, you're helping them navigate all those tricky regulations, and you're shrinking their environmental footprint. That is a huge selling point. All right, next up, we're building an ethical reputation. This is a big one, because when you're a global company operating in dozens of different countries, your reputation for doing things the right way isn't just some feel-good PR. It is literally a shield that protects you from some pretty massive risks. So how do you measure something like ethical risk? Well, here's a really clever way investors do it. They look at this. What percentage of a company's revenue comes from countries with a high risk of corruption? It's simple, but man, is it powerful. If you see a company making a ton of money in these high-risk places, it's a huge red flag. It tells an investor that there's a higher chance of bribery, big fines, and a scandal that could tank the stock. Okay, so let's recap. We've talked about safety, we've talked about water, we've talked about ethics, but how does all of this stuff get tracked and compared? Well, that's where our final section comes in, the investor's new scorecard. we're going to look at how sustainability metrics are literally redefining value. So, what is this new scorecard? Well, it's built on something called the SASB standards. The easiest way to think about this is like a common language. It gives companies a standardized way to report on all this non-financial stuff. That way, when company A reports its safety numbers, an investor can compare it apples to apples with company B. It turns all those corporate promises into cold, hard data you can actually use. And this whole practice is called sustainability accounting. Now, don't let the name fool you. This isn't about being fluffy or just trying to do good. It's about money. It's a way for companies to report on all those environmental, social, and governance, or ESG topics that could seriously impact their bottom line, for better or for worse. It's just smart risk management, plain and simple. So this is it. This is the investor's scorecard today. It's not just about revenue and profit anymore. They are looking at the whole shebang: emissions, water management, ecological impact, and yep, everything we've talked about: workforce health and safety, business ethics, how you manage risk. This isn't extra credit stuff anymore. This is now seen as fundamental to figuring out which companies are built to last. And that really leaves us with one big question to chew on, doesn't it? As the whole world of energy keeps shifting, all these things, how a company operates, how it treats the environment, its reputation, are becoming more and more important. So you have to wonder, are we heading towards a future where this scorecard actually matters more than the price? That's definitely something to think about.